everyone. I'm very glad to welcome you today on our new video podcast, The Decider. This is the video podcast where we meet professionals from sports. We do the unpacking of the sports professions and the professions related with sports. And today, there's a big honor for me to welcome Mr. Alan Moore, the international sports professional, a sports journalist, the host of Capital Sports. Alan, welcome.
You should be honored to speak with me, Dennis. I'm honored to speak with you, and thank you very much for having me on.
Amazing. We have a friendly atmosphere. This means that we will have today a very interesting discussion. I'm really anxious forward. I'm looking forward to discussing, Alan, today sports with you, because it's not a big secret for me. You are a very high expert. I'm asking for some advice from you, and I'm very happy that from time to time I'm able to address to you with some questions. So, Alan, let us first of all start with a small acquaintance, because not many, many people don't know you as close as I do. So we will make it in a blitz mode. The first block of questions are personal questions. So the first one, what's your hometown?
Hometown is Dublin. I was born in the city centre of Dublin on the South Circular Road. Then we moved outside into a village, and now it's become a town. So my home village is Mulhuddard. It's about 15,000 people living all together in the place.
Amazing. Your family, are your parents connected with sports?
My dad, sadly, who's passed away, he was a top-level athlete in Ireland. He played Gaelic football. He won 9 championships. He represented his county as well, which is the highest honour you can get in our sport at home. He also played soccer and rugby. He played soccer, football, at the top level in Ireland as well. But at the time, there were difficulties because you could be banned from playing Gaelic football or hurling if you played soccer or rugby. So he had to be very, very careful. He was an all-round athlete. Mom, she grew up kind of in a very sporty family, but more that they were involved in, horses and with boxing. So she ended up then running in athletics. As she grew up, or she got older, and even after she had kids, she went into a lot of 10K races and started doing very, very well, simply because she has that kind of engine in her. So yeah, we came from a very sporty family. Dad's family are very, very involved in sports. Mom a little bit less so, but I grew up around every kind of sport, from snooker to boxing to Gaelic football, soccer, horse racing, show jumping, tennis, you name it. So yeah, extremely, extremely sporty family. But of all of my cousins, I'm the only one who actually went on to keep going. So I was the one without the brain.
Does your son play going for sports?
Yeah, my eldest, she likes sports, but the son Tim, he plays rugby. He tried different sports, but he's really good at rugby. Really, really good. He doesn't understand it, but he's really good. He's got a lovely way of gliding past tackles. He's very brave. He's come back after he had a year out with a back injury, as you know, but he's now back training, playing, and he's good. And yeah, and again, as you know, sports are so important for kids. So it was beaten into me to go into sports. So I don't beat into Tim, but maybe I should.
Very nice. What was your major at the university, and what was the university?
Well, 3 universities, officially, not counting exchange university. So first one, University College Dublin. I did what we call arts or liberal arts. So my majors, I dropped ancient Greek language and Greek and Roman civilization, and then my majors were geography and archaeology. Archaeology is my love, and I really like geography as well. And then I went on to do a master's in modern history in the University of Maynooth. Medieval history, I should say. So I did a master's there, and then I did a master's here in the Russian State Social University in economics, world economics, which actually was what I really wanted to do all along. So I kind of found my calling later.
All right. Oh, nice. I never knew it was three universities. Amazing. What team do you support as a fan?
Well, it depends. In sport, there's different sports I follow. So, of course, with football, soccer, Dundalk FC, which is the team my dad played with, and that's the team I grew up supporting in Ireland. They're not doing so well at the moment, but they'll come back. They had won the league a number of times. They were always successful as I was growing up. Then they went into a bit of downtime along with the Irish economy. But they're okay. In England, I'll always support West Ham United. They were the kind of second team I supported when I was 3 years of age. And in Gaelic games, of course, it's Dublin, my county. So that's my county team. And club would be Moscow Shamrocks because that's my club in Moscow.
Okay, nice. Um, mm, uh, your favorite book and the writer, author?
Mm. That's always the toughest question to ask. I hate asking it to people, and I hate it to me. Um, I have a number of different writers that I really like, depending on my mood. So Martin Cruz Smith, who had the Akadyrenko series set in Russia, set in the Soviet Union in Russia. I absolutely adore his books. And the movie made of his first book, Gorky Park, is just outstanding. It's an old movie now. It's dated, but it's just superb. William Hurt plays the lead role, and it's just amazing. I like Tom Clancy, of course. I read all of his books. By John Grisham as well. John, superb writer, superb way to build scenes in people's heads. And there are a number of Irish writers, but I will say a modern one by absolute. I just think he's brilliant. Um, he it's he's written Russell Carroll. It's called Russell Carroll Kelly series of books. So they're extremely funny. They're about a kind of a rich toffee Dublin spoiled school kid who plays rugby. But he would that would be sort of my favorite series that I would go back and read, apart from Grisham. Um, and yeah, so my two top would be Grisham and Russell Carroll Kelly. Well, I won't say the author's name, but it's Russell Carroll Kelly.
Okay. What do you think about Ulysses?
Do you know what? Dennis, I read that when I was in school. Um, it's not my favorite Joyce book. I prefer the Dubliners. I prefer the Dubliners just because it's kind of it's easier to read and it's kind of more interesting. Usually, it's a tough read, a really tough read. And the weirdest time I've read it now twice because I went to school because grew up in Dublin because I went to school beside in Sandymount where he was writing about. So I actually knew the tower, I knew the pub, I knew everything that he was speaking. So it was easy. But I read the book twice in English and once in Croatian. And the Croatian version was actually easier to understand with my kind of middling Croatian than in English. But it's a terrific book. And I know you like it as well, Dennis. It's one that really challenges the brain. And no matter what language it's written in, I think it's tougher if you read it in Russian. I've only read one chapter in Russian at a library, but yeah, great book, a nice read. Not his best book, but a really good book to read.
Yeah, I got that. I just, you know what? We've already spoken with so many experts. I mean, we've done so many interviews, and many of the sports experts, they find it hard to tell me the best book and author because they all read a lot of professional literature, but many years, for many years, they don't read fiction, you know? And so I was really interested because I know that Irish, you guys are the nation of poets, and of course I expected you to tell me real, you know, authors and names, you know, and so I'm happy to hear John
It's
Grisham,
important
right?
then. It's important because even in my spare time I write, as you know, and I write like I've published two books I'm now working on the next the fourth. You know, for example, the guy I mentioned with Russell Carroll Kelly, Paul Howard is the writer's name. He was a journalist and terrific journalist, and also wrote a biography. It sort of like co-authored a biography with a man called Roddy Collins, with whom I worked in Malta. So it was very funny then to read a book, a biography of a person, and see my name turning up in it. But I read as much as possible because I travel quite a bit, and I find it very good to read, especially fiction at night, to turn my brain off. So yeah, it's
And
important. It's important.
Alan, we will speak about it a little bit later. I mean, in like further. But I know that you are doing a series of texts. You're writing under the belly of the Russian bear, or something like this. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit later. Okay. Um,
Okay.
so your favorite music band and what song could be the anthem of Gaelic football and why?
Oh, oh, there. So the anthem, that's the toughest of all. My favorite. I've lots of favorite bands, and I guess more favorite singers. So it depends on as I grow up and what mood I'm in. So, for example, I like Rammstein. Uh, I didn't like them before I came to Russia, but then I got to like them here. Oh, it's a really hard one. Can't say U2, although I like some of their songs. So I'd probably say there's an Irish group, an old Irish group. They're still going. Um, called the Dubliners. So there are a lot of their songs that I will always go back to. And that Tim, my eldest boy, he loves singing those songs as well. So I would say the Dubliners as a group, they're a traditional group. Um, but God, I mean, I'm terrible as well. I like a lot. Well, not terrible. I love country western music. So Garth Brooks and Glenn Campbell, they'd be my idols. I 3 years old, standing on a wall at my aunt's house singing like Rhinestone Cowboy. Um, And probably one I'll always go back to, but it sounds so crazy, but Village People are a group I just think they're fascinating and they're brilliant. So yeah. So a mix of groups all through the years, no one that I would say I would love. But the answer for Gaelic football, that's a great question. There's one called from a group called the Saw Doctors in Ireland called the Green and Red of Mayo, or to win just once. So to win just once, I think is very very good. Um, yeah, I'd say probably to win just once. It's basically
Okay.
that you said it, like it's it's not important if you lose. It's important that you try again. And the battle is to win just one time. And it's basically a story about an Irish county who always choke, always choke. So it's just kind of this plea to please just win just one time. So that's it. So to win just once.
Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you are acquainted with some of the Irish musicians. I mean, famous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've met lots of different people from. I mean, Van Morrison. I met. He was dating a well woman, wasn't a girl, a woman who grew up in my town. So he came down and we met him, and he was okay. He met, of course, the guys from U2. Had family connections there as well, and just lots of different people who kind of saw Keanu Reeves, for example. I met after a concert in Dublin. With I think his group was called Dogstar. I think it was. It's a long time ago now.
And as an
Yes,
interviewer, as a journalist, have you spoken with some of them? I mean,
oh yeah,
uh,
yeah. I mean, I've spoken with, for example, met. Oh wait, I can't say no. I didn't interview the Spice Girls. I mean, they were very nice, but I met the Spice Girls when they were going on their first world tour. They played in Dublin. Um, I think of the like, there's lots of sorry, there's lots of singers and songwriters and musicians that I've interviewed or been on panels with and stuff like that. I can tell you the weirdest one of all, who really scared me with his. I felt he was like a psycho killer, and yet he seems very very nice. Was Michael Bublé? Michael Bublé is kind of he's a lovely singer. I like his music, but I was doing a 3 minute interview with him, and I don't know what was wrong with him, but he was extremely scary, and with these eyes, it just were he was going to like attack me the whole time, and then I remember I asked him about something like uh I think I said something because I was getting annoyed because he was really not fighting with me. So I said, does it bother you that it's like all old women who love you, not young women? He just he got really angry. He got up and walked out, then walked back in and said like, "F you," or like I said. I'm not an old woman. And he just broke down laughing. He broke down laughing and he just shook my hand and went off. So that was yeah, that it aired on radio. It was very funny, but yeah, that was so look, I'll say that like that Michael Bublé was the worst and best interview, the weirdest interview at all. And he was scary, scary.
Cool. Wow. Alan, who is the international athlete who inspires you most and why?
Um, well, kind of like growing up, I mean, I would have looked up to my dad because he was still playing football when I was a kid. So I would have gone to games and watched him play and seen him break ribs and so on. So I kind of he was kind of my inspiration. Didn't tell him often enough when he was alive, but that's the fact. Um, there'd be two who I really, really, really looked up to as role models. Um, One was Billy Bonds, who's an ex-West Ham captain, English. I think played for England as well. Maybe played for the B team. Central defender, superb player. Played until he was, I think, 40, 41, top level in England. One of those players who really, he was just so stylish. He was kind of like a young Bobby Moore. And Bobby Moore had been, of course, one of the greatest defenders of all time. So smooth. So Billy Bonds just kind of followed up him. So he's like kind of tall, strong, long, like not, he was strong, but like long, beautiful blonde hair, just like kind of perfect 70s, 80s footballer. So and he would take a beating, but he wouldn't react. He was just that kind of really good player. So he was kind of my football idol. And then in boxing, there was Charlie Nash, who was a European well, professional champion, British champion, superb boxer from Derry, and had a great backstory, like a really, really emotional story where his brother had been murdered by the British Army on Bloody Sunday, and so he was kind of fighting for the whole of Ireland, but everyone kind of saw more that he was kind of in the Catholic camp, but he wasn't. He was very, very open. Um, and he lost a world title. I remember crying as a kid when he had a problem with cuts, so he lost the world title to a guy called Jim Watt from Glasgow, who never liked. I still never got around to liking it all. So when he lost that world title, that was that I lost the world title, so that was difficult. So they're my two people. I'd also add Barry McGuigan, the boxer who was world champion, featherweight champion. I didn't kind of appreciate his from when he became world champion. Yeah, there's a couple of title defenses I didn't like. I don't know why, but he then when he lost his world title and came back again, I really, really appreciate him. And we're in contact now, personally in contact. And I'll say that he's from the same area as my family as well. So there's a kind of that connection. So of those two boxers, one footballer, did my all of them would have guided me as I went forward.
Wow. And what is a genuine champion for you? What features does a genuine champion have?
That's really tough. I'm quiet because I'm trying to think. I can tell you off the top of my head what I think a champion should be, and then but I'm trying to match them up with the people who I think are great champions. Um, so I'm thinking of rugby players, I'm thinking of soccer players, boxers, basketballers, tennis players that I know. Uh, and I will say straight away, volunteers giving back. So they go, even when they're up, even when they're on the down, doesn't make a difference. They go back, they give back to the community, back to kids. They do it for free. So they do it for free. They just give back. They just want to give something. And you understand this as well. Because we both experienced this. And we both helped each other out in different things where we would just turn up. Cup of tea, great. Sandwich, great. But it's more that you want to give back. And I think that's what makes a champion. There are a lot of people who have been superb Olympic athletes, who have been brilliant world champions in boxing. They've been in Russian champions in soccer, volleyball, basketball. But that's it. They you need to give back. So a champion, a true champion, in my opinion, gives back. And I've met so many superb people that are champions that have in Gaelic games in Ireland, they're our heroes. They're the people we respect more than soccer players. Win the World Cup, it's football, nothing. But if you win the local county regional town title, you can be more important. And those people will always give back. So, and rugby players are the same. Rugby players will still go the same. When I was home in June, met two of our rugby stars who were just down in South Africa. They were at a small primary school giving out awards for a sports day. Now, why they do it? Because one of the guys' girlfriend works there. So this, for me, that's a champion. To be able to give back, to be a volunteer, and say nothing about it.
Nice, amazing. I love the answer because you know what? Again, I haven't come across yet the volunteer part of a champion, right? But it's crucial. I trust it's very important.
You do it,
Alan,
Dennis. You've been at very high levels at world levels in bobsled, for example, just in winter sports. You know that you've come along and helped out in things or judge competitions, small things like that I think it's vital. I think it's vital because we all do it. We all do it, and it doesn't matter what level you get to. You can be middle level, top level, low level, give back. So sorry, that's
Alan, let me, I didn't expect to talk about this at this stage of our discussion, but can you tell us briefly about the project Charity Betting? You managed and you launched, it was your idea back in 2018 at Lokomotiv Moscow. Can you tell us just
sure.
briefly?
It was 2017, and it was you and I. You remember we sat down together from one of the VIP lounges, trying to figure out what to do. I was working separately. I was working with radio course and with the university, and then we had a chat. The main thing is it's something that I had done before in both Croatia and Ireland, something that I thought could be brought over, made even better in Russia, which we did. It was made an awful lot better. We're basically, as part of the unofficial, largely giving back to the local community, and it has to be local. Can't just be cash, it has to be buying some. So we, as you know, you went and found people who were living nearby whose children needed help. So we got a new walker, wheelchair, whatever it may be, or help with medicine, but some that actually there's a monetary value on it. A monetary value, but something that's even a greater value, more than anything else, to give back. So this is what we did. We basically organized it. We would have people who would come into our show, into our show in the arena, in the Airjet Arena. Those people would then have certain bets to put on, given by the charity betting partner, the betting partner of the club, one of the main sponsors of the club, who would then put forward the money. I mean, I think it was around $1,000 every time, right? So like, or maybe
$25,000 in total.
Yeah, in total. So they would put it in, and then the winnings that people would get back, they would use them to buy the equipment, the crutches, the whatever it may be. They usually matched it as well. There are times, I mean, you know yourself, we spoke with on the radio, where when we actually came through these things and we did photos from it, I mean, it was a wonderful job. And the most important thing is that using this money, which again, I don't bet. I might give advice on betting, but I don't bet. For personal reasons, it doesn't really bother me, but for working within sport, I think it's very difficult to separate myself because I know what's happening. So I don't even want to get near it. But with that time, we made money back from the betting company to give out to people. And I mean, it was a terrific thing. It was something that I think was vitally important that more people should do. For me, it was one of the best things involved in. And I'm very glad that we worked together as well. I think we should have had more acknowledgement for it, but still, it doesn't make a difference. We did it. We feel it. We know it. We saw the impact, and that's the most important thing. So it was a very simple project. One that can be done anywhere. Any club, any organization can do it because people need help. And very often, we can't always rely on the state. The state is overburdened as it is. Any state doesn't make a difference where it is. But we can use this parallel operation with sport to help people. Perfect.
It was an amazing project. I'm very grateful to God. I think that I was able to join this project, and thank you so much for the idea, which came from, if I'm not mistaken, from Paddy Power strategy, global strategy.
Yeah, it came from initially. Oh, it came from Paddy Power, and then they sort of went away from it slightly. Then because it began in Ireland, and then we actually brought it to Croatia. It was a local betting company. They loved it, but the problem was, and it's a good problem to have. So we organized it with the rugby club, and there was we're betting on rugby games. So we every weekend we would put a certain amount, around €500 every weekend. But NGOs who were hoovering up money from government and international providers, they wanted this money as well. And he said, no, no, it can't be from the Rugby Federation. It can only be. So they gave up on that per season. At that time, I think we dispersed around €12,000, which was not bad back in 2004. But it was just the jealousy. So we were very lucky. I was very fortunate to have you there with me because you were able to catch it at a professional level, and we were blessed.
Amazing. Alan, what sports did you do in your life?
I'd like to say, oh, what sport didn't I do? But I did a lot of sports. I mean, oh God, I mean, of course, Gaelic games, but hurling and football. Hurling was my main sport. Boxing, kickboxing. Kickboxing, I had one fight. It was just my university because I needed someone at my weight. Soccer, rugby, American football. I played a little bit mainly in Canada. I know we discussed before. Um, Water polo, swimming, athletics, horse racing, and show jumping. Um, haven't done any archery or shooting. And volleyball, basketball. I play basketball with our school. Our school has a very good, my old school had a very good system. Table tennis and tennis and badminton. I probably
Wow.
remember more later on.
You're like an encyclopedia of football, of sports. I'm sorry. Look, Alan, and what was your top achievement in which sports?
I won European university titles for boxing. So that was I won. Sorry, won. I won 3 medals: bronze, silver, gold at 3 different games. That was a big achievement. But it was like not it wasn't huge. As in, well, could have been better. Just I think as an adult, probably I was just trying to think the best one, well, could have been rugby. In soccer, we won a couple of cups in different competitions, different countries. So in Croatia, we won promotion from third division. In Saudi Arabia, we won the first division cup. Sorry, there's a professional cup. Possibly, I think possibly even boxing actually would be my best. Where I went on a run towards the end of my career. I was 27 onwards, and I just started just winning fights. I was really having fun, and possibly the winning the gold medal in 2003 was probably my best. It was in Germany. Most of my people I knew, most of my friends were there to watch me win it. The problem was that after the quarterfinal, I realized I didn't want to do this anymore. I was just tired. I was already working professionally. I was closing on 30. I thought, no, this is not for me. And I woke up in the morning, went there for breakfast. And normally I'd be chatty, talking, and kind of buzzing, the day of a fight. But in a good way. I kind of learned to not get nervous. I just started to chat and have fun and distract myself. Problem was that I had no energy. And one of my former sparring partners who was helping with me, who was coaching me, and he said to me, you're not here with us. And I was like, well, I am. He goes, no, but you're not here. You're not Alan. I'm like, oh, I am. He goes, no. He said, you're not. I can see it in your face. And then he said, what's wrong? I said, I just don't care anymore. And it's a weird thing because I walked out of the ring. Many of my years ago, I was 18, fighting my first British and Irish Championship in London. I was very nervous before the final. I was fighting flyweight, 51 kilos. And a man who's assisting, his son was extremely famous pro boxer. He'd been European amateur and he's Olympic medalist as well. And he was fixing you put a ribbon around your waist. So he's fixing a ribbon around my waist. And he said to me, are you nervous? I said, yeah, good. I was like, what? And he said, I told my boy that the day you stop being nervous before a fight, get out. And that stuck in my head. So I knew that when I hit that level, that would be it. So that morning, I looked up at one of my coaches and says, I'm not scared. I actually don't feel anything with this. I'm not nervous. I'm not buzzed. I'm just kind of, I don't care. So it was funny. I don't remember the next two fights, semi-final, final, I don't remember a minute. I know what happened. I watched the videos. I was told what happened, and but I don't remember. I just went into autopilot. So it was the best achievement I kind of had as a amateur boxer, beating really really good competition, um, getting ranked in well ranked in Europe, but I didn't enjoy a minute of it, not a minute, not 1 second, and I don't even know where my medal and cup are. I won a medal and cup; they're gone.
Wow. Can you recollect the um, the your feelings when you won your first I don't know your first big competition?
In games, I would have been a kid winning competitions, and when I got older, I also won it when I got older as well. Um, Soccer kind of the same. But yeah, I'll go back to boxing because it was one where when I won the British and Irish title, I stopped the guy. I think it was in 35, 40 seconds. And it was a shock, absolute shock. Everyone was just like, what the hell just happened here? Because it doesn't happen at 51 kilos. That is basically the referee. I hit the guy, referee gave him a count. It included an 8 count, like I guess 45, 40 seconds, or 35, 40 seconds. And I just remember just absolute explosion of joy and looking back into the crowd and seeing my teammates because it was a team championship plus it counted like who would with your team, like who would get the points. And they were just delighted. And it just set us off on a run. So we did very well at the rest of the night. We won the overall team title. It was just kind of absolute pride. But I learned a lesson that has stuck with me afterwards when I came home. So I came home the next day, or I think 2 days later, I think it was. It's because we got a time a bus or a train and then a bus, sorry, a boat back to Dublin. Got a bus home, went in, so I'd won a medal, had a small cup. I even got a kind of small cash gift as well. They give you a watch if you won, and you give the watch in, you get cash for it, so whatever. And I was very happy. And my dad sitting at the table, and mom was there, oh, well done, well done. So dad, and dad had been part of my sports story from childhood, so I've been extremely close. I said, I won it. And then my dad just said to me, something who bugged me so much at the time. He said, did you enjoy it? But hold on. I'm just the British and Irish champion. Knocked the guy out in 40 seconds. Um, you know, I've got medal cup money. What do you mean? Because no, but did you enjoy? Did you have fun doing the whole process? And I was just like, F you, like, old man, don't understand anything. The hell with you. Stormed off. Go to my room. He was only 18, so I was like sulking. And years later, what a couple of years later, Dad spoke with me about it, and it did genuinely dance. It affected me for a while, as in I didn't want to share with my dad my achievements. I mean, for a year, maybe a year and a half, and I was doing very well in boxing, going for a run to the Olympic Games and all that. And my dad said to me that that's what his dad did to him. Dad came in after winning a very big competition in Gaelic football. Came in and said, "Oh, I did. I'm going with my granny and his mom and his sisters were like, oh, well done, John, well done." And my granny said, "Did you enjoy it?" And of course, Dad, same as me, he would have been same age as me, like lost it. Oh, you don't understand anything, hold up. But it taught me a lesson, Dennis, where it's if you're not enjoying doing what you're doing, my main things could be sport, could be life, could be work, education. If you're not enjoying, you're not getting some from it. If you're not energized to do it, get the hell out. Don't do it. So I had to. It took me a while, Dennis. It took me a while. I took a break from boxing as well, and then came back to it. I felt energized. I actually realized that what my dad had told me was correct. What he'd asked me was correct. I really then got to enjoy it, and I stopped panicking because I used to in this panic where I would go and try to knock the guy out as quick as possible in the first round because I didn't have confidence in myself to last the distance. I knew I'm super fit. I was the one who outran everybody, outskipped, outboxed the whole lot. In the gym, no problem. I was sparring big guys, they'd punch me. I sparred with Olympic champions, no problem. But for myself, when I went into the ring, I'd be like, oh God, I need to knock this guy out. So it took me 2, 3 years to get rid of that tension. But then when I kind of got rid of the tension, no problem. So it's a small little life lesson of like that, you know, uh, that great moment of high when I was so happy came back, dropped down so low when I should have actually realized that I really loved what I did. I really liked knocking that guy out. So I'm sorry to say.
What you like more, boxing or football?
Um, boxing, boxing every day of the week. Boxing to win in a box in a ring. There's nothing like. There's no. I've never done drugs, so I've never smoked drugs. I've never injected or taken drugs. Painkillers, okay, but very, very rarely I try to limit them. Terraflu, yeah, okay, fine, like so like Lemsip or anti-flu medicine. But uh, as you know, like with alcohol, I mean, a couple of beers, I'm very, very happy, but I do it as a social thing. Um, but boxing, there's nothing like it in the world, and I always have to apologize for saying it, but it's the truth. It's better than sex. It's better than everything. It's, I swear to God, that moment when you walk, and I think of it now, and I kind of cringe a little bit. I cringe when I walk over to the ropes. I put my hands in the air, and it was like, man. And or when in the ring, I was like taunting the other guy because he break up one guy, punched me in the back of the head, and I mean completely legally, the bell had rung. And as I'm walking away, he just full on punched me, knocked me completely bandy. I was gone. It took me the full minute of the break plus 30 seconds of the next round to wake up because I was completely out. No one knew it. I was just completely like, but anyway, um, that after that, then I taunted him. I kind of like, I was calling him on, come on, come on, come on. That I never did before, but the crowd loved it. And I was kind of a showman as well. But the thing with it was that, but it just, because you are terrified going in, everyone's scared going in. If people say they're not scared, they're a liar or they're psycho. But I was always nervous going into the ring. I channeled the nerves into saying that
How do you think, Alan? Is sports is a good profession for for a lifetime, like for a career, or not?
sports, professional sports, no, I would always say no. It's extremely difficult to be for people. Um, I've worked with professional athletes across different sports. I've played professional sports. I've been involved coaching and commentating and interviewing and administrating. So I would say no, because it's extremely difficult. You're only as good, and I found out when I was playing football, you're only as good as your next contract. And that's extremely difficult. It's very hard to take. One example I always had was playing with a team called St. James's Gate in Ireland. So we're playing in, it was the term we were part of the reserve team, but we would go up and play with the first team in the first division. And they were a good, solid, old school side, really good. Had great backers coming in, and then well, the club ended up going bankrupt. But one thing that brought home to me was through the season, I was playing every single game, running every single meter, just fighting, fighting, fighting. And I was the one who's kind of Mr. Dependable. So I played almost every minute of every game in the old third division. And we were doing well. We were like second from top. And uh, coming towards the end of the season, I was tired because I was studying as well. I was boxing as well. I was playing football. And I was like, I'm, I'm tired. I was really worn out. And I felt in one game where I suddenly got cramp in the back of my right leg. I was like, well, that's not good. And it wasn't muddy. It was in late March, early April. So it was kind of our season at the time was going from September till May. 6 games left oh, sorry, 5 games left in the league. We were pushing for the playoff position because the top 14 is a playoff. And then I remember these guys who during the season were okay, they were way more talented than me, way better than me, way more experienced than me. And suddenly they started to play really well. And I'd be battling with the ball, to give the pass to them, they could do something with it. Um, and they'd start like, hands up, oh, what do you do? I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on. Like, I'm the one who basically, when you basically were drinking on Friday night and you're too drunk on Saturday to play, you would give the ball away and I'd have to chase and win it back and come back. And I'd be playing through injuries, cracked finger, cracked toe, like, strains and hardness. And at the end of the season, they were all offered contracts for 2 years. and I was offered a game-to-game contract, and I couldn't understand. I was like, well, my minutes are better, my results are better. I scored more goals than this guy. I gave more passes, like assists, and the guy I was 19 at the time, 19 going on 20. The guy turned out to me and said, "Listen, you have to wise up." He said, "It's not important how well you play all season. He said, when your contract's up for renewal, that's what you focus on." And it kind of broke me a little bit because it was kind of that's not what I thought sport was about. So from that, you know, uh, I would always say no, sport. It's not a great career. You can make something of it, but it's not for everybody. And if you don't make it as a professional athlete, or if you don't break into it, it's not the end of the world as well. It shouldn't be. And people say, "Oh, you need education." No, you don't. You can go off and work. You can go off and do a job. There's lots of jobs to get. But I think that the pressure surrounding professional sports and careers in sports, coaches, for example, managers of football teams, it's dreadful. It's horrible. And people say, "Oh, it's worth money," but personally, no. Not unless you get paid multi-millions and you're Jose Mourinho, then it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you have shared this realistic vision of sports, because you know what, some experts, they told me, yes, I'm truly happy to work in sports. It's a pure happiness, and I don't even I can't even imagine myself without sports or outside a sports career. But I understand what you mean. It's
Yeah.
too stressful, right? And
Yeah.
the ratio between the input and the outcome is not fair, right? Is not quite fair for
You're
many
dead right.
many
And looked at
professionals in sports.
exactly. And then he says, you said that you know, the moments when I was standing in the boxing ring, I'm thinking this is better than sex, and with my arms in the air, thinking I've made it, I'm brilliant, and everyone's cheering me and loving me, and drinks flowing all night, and women go, "Oh, you're the best, you're the best." That's a few times. A lot of times you kind of just you go into the dressing room, you change because you don't have a shower, and you go home, and you stop off at McDonald's on the way home, or something like that, or you're getting cheated by the referee. So the referee, one time when I knocked a guy down, I knocked him down and he fell across me. And of course, I stumbled stepping over because I was moving forward. And I caught a beautiful right hand. And as he fell, I went to move, and he kind of caught my legs. And I stumbled a little bit, but into the ropes. But he was on the ground. He was unconscious on the ground. The referee gave me an 8 count. I'm like, what? Why are you doing this? And the referee's counting. And as he's counting, he's going 1, 2, and if he had just lifted the guy up off the canvas, it would have been simpler. Put him on a stool, let him rest. So there's more of those, and everyone's gone through those. So yeah, I'd and we're not that's just cheating, and then there's like everything from being screwed over from money and from doping and the whole lot. But just as an overall thing, it's a very temporary career for a young man of 28, 29, and I've had to do it 30 years of age. Just say, you don't have it anymore. You need to quit, and
And
and that's very
and those general managers in football, for example, dismissed after 3 years of a very good job,
or,
because
or a year or a year. I mean, like some of the stuff like who you get a job, you need to, for example, we know one particular general manager for Lokomotiv, where he came in to do a job and he had to set things up and to develop and make the stadium a place to come, families, kids, girls, boys, everybody, players, and you wanted to be hostile to opposition teams, but friendly at the same time and friendly to fans, which we saw every single time. And he succeeds, but then somebody else wants your glory, and that's a big problem. And it's a big thing where you've always got these people, these experts. They're either sitting in studios or sitting in boardrooms or sitting in the stand or sitting at home on the computer on their laptop. And they're texting, they're tweeting, they're on WhatsApp groups or on Telegram, and they're like, "Oh, that guy's using what's he going to do?" I woke up to that when I was in Malta, when I was working as a general director, and it really, really worried me when people who were busy playing football were actually championship manager, and they were saying, "We can get this player, he's free now," like, because some guy was free. He goes, "Oh, he's really good." I was like, "This is 2010. He was good in 2003 on your computer game." And the guy started quoting all these stats at me, but he was the advisor to the president. And of course, who is the president going to advise to accept the advice? Some guy who's just brought the team, saved the team from bankruptcy, who's kept the team in the top division, who's brought them to a cup final, or some guy who plays computer games all day. Guy who plays computer games all day. So
Alan, I'm so happy we have this discussion because it seems to be very open and fair and how to put it like well, I just love it. Can you tell me, do you see the main trends or tendencies, the way sports getting different? I mean the international sports. Can we talk about them? How
sure,
do you see the sports changes itself?
lots of different ways, Dennis. I mean, um, it depends on the sport. And like say, for example, on Sunday, a couple of days ago now as we're recording, you had 82,300 people going to watch a hurling game in Dublin. Amateur teams, guys who are working, teachers, firemen, farmers, unemployed people, students, policemen, salesmen. So you got two teams filled with these amateurs who'll be back at work the next day. They went to work on Friday, left early to go off their team, and they produced an unbelievably good game. So in that way, I can see some sports growing. For example, I can see like Gaelic games in Europe, for example, hurling and for men and women, Gaelic football and hurling are growing, more participation. So I think that in some ways participation has increased. But I've also seen, for example, in the English Premier League, and I will preface this by saying it's nothing to do with COVID. It's nothing to do with economics, really. It's more to do with sort of a disconnect. And many people are sort of, they're following football, they're watching on TV, but they're not going to games and all that. And I've seen it. They live at packed house. No, it tends to aren't full because people, I think, have lost a little bit of interest. Participation has gone up. So in that level, kind of like going to games, people, in Germany, people just go to games. It's just their thing. It's their culture. France, it depends on the region. Some regions down in the south, in the Basque Country, the mountains, they'll go to rugby. They'll pack it like Toulouse or the west coast in La Rochelle. Um, it's I think it's difficult to sports overall, Dennis, because I do see a lot of Olympic sports starting to go down as well. And I do know that people, even though they're pushing it, like, oh, field sports, track and field, it's going great. And more people just don't believe, don't want to, they don't look at it anymore, And I think it's a bit of an issue. The big sports will always sell well, so American football will always do well, uh, especially come to Super Bowl. Baseball is struggling badly. Basketball is doing okay. Ice hockey is doing okay. But I think overall, international sports, there's a bit of a disconnect. And I think that we also need to look at politically and socially, there are divides in the world as well that I've seen, that I've been able to pick up on a couple of sports when we're speaking with uh, sports journalists, say, for example, from India. So India, cricket is cricket, and they packed the place out. They just won the World T20 Championship in the West Indies. So they're happy. But overall, then we speak to people in Africa, so some of them are just kind of, people are playing football, but they're not watching football. They're not interested, and it's kind of, there is a bit of a disconnect. People in Africa would rather watch, for example, the English Premier League than their own local Premier League. So that kills that as well. But I think this, just on the Olympics alone, the Olympics is, of course, starting soon. The difficulty with the Olympics are a lot of people have lost faith in the Olympics, the Olympic motto, the Olympic feel. Um, and I think one of the final straws were these Olympic Games, the ones in Paris, that and I've spoken with people who would be, I would say, quite critical of Russia. And they would say that there's just a lack of fairness. They look and say, Israel, look what Israel's doing, and they're allowed to compete. What's the difference with Russia? So there is a kind of a bit of a disconnect as well, and I think that's driven, unfortunately, by the media, as in that the media push one angle and they cover up what they want to cover up, and people are starting to lose interest. So I do know that they're expecting, apart from certain events, that in Ireland, a friend of mine is going to cover the Olympics for Irish national TV and radio, and as he said, that they're expecting probably the middle level viewing figures for the Olympic Games. The first time since 2000, the Sydney Olympics. But again, there's a time difference at that time. This time it's just people don't care.
You have to take into consideration that the entire Russian population, they won't be able even to watch Olympics.
Yeah, anywhere. I mean, they can watch it outside streams, but it's not being streamed by no one here wants to watch it. And I understand that. I do understand it. I think it's gone beyond the joke at this stage. The whole games and the whole way it's been run. And I think what really was embarrassing was when Anne Hidalgo, the mayor of Paris or mayoress of Paris, when she said that Russian and Belarusians aren't welcome, and that I think that triggered an awful lot of people who I said that quite recently. So that triggered a lot of people who were thinking, hold on, because she had actually personally gone to Israel and said, oh, you'll all be safe. And people were like, well, hold on, this is wrong. You can't, as a good friend of mine in Ireland said, very good journalist and a radio broadcaster, and he said that the life of a brown child is the same as the life of a white child. And that's all he said, and he said that on radio, and he's very brave to say it, but that's just a fact. I think, yeah, so people have turned off. And it's an unfortunate thing. Like Olympics, yourself, Olympics were great to watch as a kid. For me, 1992 was amazing because I was almost involved with the boxing team the whole way. So yeah, it's ruined itself. And even with the recent European Championships, I had to follow it, I had to work with it, but I wasn't really interested. I was more interested in Qatar because it was why not? It was fun. The timing was good for it. So and it was great to have it in December. And November, December, that was brilliant. But yeah, I think overall, world sports are not in a great place right now at an organizational level, but at a participation level, I think, especially down amateurs, way more people involved, way more.
Alan, can you tell me the secret? Which team did you support in the finals in your European Championships, in European Cup?
England.
England. So you cheered for England, okay?
Yeah, mainly because I don't like Spain. I'm sorry, Des. I know you like Spain, but I have a thing with Spain, and it's founded. It's founded in fact, founded in reason, but also I mean, I can't turn around, be two-faced, and say that I like West Ham United, who play in England, have grown up,
of course,
40 odd years. So and you say I hate England. No, both sides of my family, we have relatives in England. Yes, there's a long history there, over 800 years. But at the same time, I can separate with it. And also as well, we had one that wasn't playing, but Harry Kane, of course, Irish father, could play for Ireland. Declan Rice played for Ireland, then changed to England. So there's a lot of that team. There's a lot of guys who were there who are all of Irish extraction. So you kind of have to support them. I detest what some of the English supporters do. Some of them, and they then gather a big group of them together and they all do it. It's disgusting. It's hard what they do, but you don't have to pass an IQ exam to go to watch a football game. So it is what it is. But I support England.
What about the players of the England? I mean, what happened to Foden? What do you think?
I think it's a decent player. Decent player. I mean, I don't have any real players I like in the English team. I like Declan Rice. I think he's very, very good. I think he's played out of position in a way, but he has to play that position. Kyle Walker was very good. He's a solid defender. Yeah, I don't know. None of the English team. The English team played well as a team, but there were no real players that I really thought were wow. Foden was a very good player, very talented, very tricky. But they played to a system, and the system almost won it for them. And it happened for Greece in 2004. It happened for many countries before, but unfortunately, Spain, took a 2-goal lead, and that's it. Once you get a goal, that's it. You're chasing. So,
who do you think will be the next general manager for the national team of England?
Oh, I mean, people are pushing Jurgen Klopp, but he's not going to take it. He's too young. Um, they're not going to get somebody in from outside of England, so it'll be someone from within England. It could be Eddie Howe, for example, the current Newcastle coach. Um, who'd want to take that job? Nobody wants to take it. I mean, I was in Ireland at the start of these Euros, and so I was watching Irish TV and British TV, so BBC, ITV, and RTE, and TV3 or Virgin Media is called. Sorry, the four channel and header covering it, and reading online and speaking with people and being interviewed on different panel shows. They were so negative and they were driving the population into this absolute utter hate for the English team, English players, manager. It bordered on mass psychosis. It was really bad. And I said from the very start, England are going to get to the final. They could win it, but they get to the final. And I kept saying this all along, that they're going to get to the final. They could win it. I said the last years as well, and the World Cup of 2018. But the reaction of the media, which is the reason why many people in Ireland and around the world detest the English team, is the media. The media are disgraceful. They're really bad. There's guys who are, you know, they write columns and they write articles for newspapers and they speak on TV. But these people should be just taken into a field, like, may dig a hole and then lie down in the hole and cover them over. Don't shoot them, just cover them over with mud. Just keep them out of the way because they're hazards to society, basically the English media, the English sports media, I won't say about the general media, they're terrible as well, some very good people. But the English sports media are basically like what exists inside that tomb in Chernobyl. And we don't let that stuff out of the tomb in Chernobyl because it's toxic and it will destroy the world. English sports media, exact same.
Oh,
Sorry, I'd be very cruel when I go through.
Alan, I do remember back in 2017 and 18, you were very good at predictions. Shifting to the Premier Liga in Russia, do you think Zenit will win this time again?
Well, yeah, I remember 2017. It was like local win the league, was just knew it. Once they lost the Super Cup, we knew they'd win the league. I usually stick to my predictions as well because the year before, or that year as well, we said Man City, and then Liverpool. We put our money on it. Well, put our reputation. It worked out. Yeah, I don't see anyone challenging Zenit. I don't think they've bought in well. I don't think they've strengthened up a team as much as the fans would like. I think, or as even the manager would like. But I think they're just too good at the moment. Spartak are still struggling to get back together. I think Spartak need to just basically be sold. I mean, as the owner has, it's too close. When you're own a club, you cannot be involved. You have to step back and let it go. Trust the professionals, let them work. If there's a committee and so on, for example, like in the team, they need to step back and just let the general director get on with the coach and let them work it. Sport director, whatever. I don't like local have improved, but they haven't improved enough. Krasnodar came close last time out. They've strengthened with like Fyodor Smolov has joined them, but I'd say he's good for maybe 8, 9, 10 goals a season, but that's not going to make a difference to make up the gap to the top. CSKA, not really. Dynamo, I think are a very good team, but they're going to blow up. I don't see them reaching it. So overall, Dennis, it's hard to say it. It's so early now to say it, but I back Zenit to win again. I don't see anyone who could challenge them unless something happens by the end of the transfer window. I don't see anybody because Loco don't have the stamina. CSKA, no, they're in a bit of a mix-up at the moment. Krasnodar just don't have the depth, and Dynamo, I think they could blow up again. So, and the problem with sports is, and you know this, is that there's nothing to play for. There's no European football, and so I think that's a big minus. So teams are spending money, but they're not spending the type of money to get the type of players that they need in. So I think that's where Zenit are just going to go away.
I have to say that with this transfer of Glushenkov, Zenit has really weakened Lokomotiv. Definitely so.
That's true. Look, and again, if players not going to stay, that's another thing as well. Players not going to stay at the club just because they like the club. They're going to move. Like the Miranchuk's, and also as well, players do know, there will come a point where the club will say to you, bye bye. And so it's better to get out and make money while you can. So yeah, I agree. That's it. That's I think that's the one outstanding transfer I think that really strengthened up any club. And as you said, if we could local with that. So yeah, with you on that. So I think Zenit will go again.
Well, Alan, let's get back to the to the series of your stories you're doing weekly. The under the belly of the Russian bear, right? Can you
Yeah.
tell me? Do you even touch sports in your articles, or there's a very little space for sports there?
I don't know. I touch sports. I touch them in a way, kind of more very much you know, it's from Substack Arman in Russia, and I wrote. I took it up years ago now because I'd always been writing, but some sites previously to 20 well before February 2022, they said no, we can't have someone based in Russia writing books. So I'm okay, doesn't matter. So I usually would always write for enjoyment, just to sort of release something to channel thoughts, something to think about. So it takes a time for each article. So I would do sports, and I would look at, for example, for example, like Jurgen Klopp, for example, wrote about him because I'd met the man many years ago, written about him, spoken about him, interviewed him twice as well. So that's one. One thing, just like about specific things. And I spoke about, like, say, the value of sports, for example, written about the value of sports and how important it is, and even for international students in Russia, for example, how it unites them, how it binds them. And yeah, so I do like to write about sports, but I found that the articles about sports get less reads than articles about the cost of living or living in Russia or travel to Ireland or Hungary or Poland. So basically, people they'll read it, and I know who reads it as well. I know the people because they'll write to me about it. But most of the articles that are interesting are non-sporting, which is a bit of a pity because if I could, I'd write about sports every day, right, every single day. Well, not maybe every day. No, I would write every day because there's so much sport. Sports is just amazing. So, and I'd like to write about it, but I have to hold myself back here as well. I did write about like my own personal experience in Canada, for example, part one, about playing pro football in Canada. Um, that was fun and difficult to write because it brought up a lot of memories. So it took me 2 days to write it, to complete the first part. And I took a day off then completely from work because it was really. I remember like I was in it where basically where I was signed. It was a big team in Canada. I transferred to them and signed contract one day. Next day I walked in and they said you can trade it. It's like what? I literally the night before I'd viewed an apartment, put a deposit on it, non-refundable deposit and all that, and that was just horrible. So basically, yeah, there was writing with sports when it's person is very difficult. So yeah, but I do. There are on our man in Russia. There are quite a few sports articles, but not as many as there should be. But there's a lot.
Alan, you travel really a lot. You know you have traveled to so many Russian regions. What Russian region you find the most beautiful, except for Moscow? Because Moscow is an obvious answer. And
Moscow wouldn't be my top five, but my number one in a heartbeat is Ulyanovsk. First region I really was in Russia many years ago. So Ulyanovsk was just beautiful. The landscape is amazing. Volga River is so huge. Towns are nice. People are nice. So Ulyanovsk is just amazing. It's something very spiritual there. Voronezh is great as well in a different way, where there's big rivers as well, but it's also very rich. You can feel it coming from the soil. Of course, it's Black Earth region. Um, Krasnoyarsk really impressed me. The whole just Krasnoyarsk, the city, the surroundings, the people was really impressed me in 2019. I was there for the winter Universiade. I really liked it. Um, there's a lot of beautiful regions. I mean, down the south, like Krasnodar, Adygea, um, there's some stunning regions. Really stunning. Murmansk is beautiful as well, just not the winter. Um, St. Petersburg is nice, but I find St. Petersburg very much a dead city. I would prefer Moscow way more than St. Pete's, simply because Moscow is more alive. I find it's more alive. That's just well, a lot of time here. Um, so Ulyanovsk number one, then Voronezh number two, and probably Krasnoyarsk number three, because
Wow.
they're really Krasnoyarsk is wild, absolutely wild. And I like Ekaterinburg and Chelyabinsk. Actually, I should say that's it. No, Chelyabinsk region is up there. I know you train there the whole lot in Ekaterinburg, so Ekaterinburg is very beautiful, the region, and then Chelyabinsk, especially the close to the Ekaterinburg or Sverdlovsk border, is amazing. All that like Kasli and lots of small forgotten towns, but beautiful lakes, beautiful hills, mountains. Yeah, but I just love the lakes. Nature is just unbelievable. I've never seen it like in Kasseli in Chelyabinsk region.
Amazing. If you were asked, can Krasnodar Stadium and its park be in top 5 stadiums, what would you answer?
It depends on the criteria for how it's set up and so on. 100%. For the ones I've visited recently in the last decade, um, I was for sure it's amazing. Um, for atmosphere, no, it's a great stadium. It's a great layout. It's yeah, it's probably top five. With everything is there, it's top five. Lokomotiv is very well laid out as well. It's a whole sports complex, so it's really beautiful. It always disappointed with Spartak didn't do the same. Um, Dynamo don't have the same as well, but it's very nice. Just in Russia, uh, just for stadium for atmosphere, uh, probably the best I've ever been, the best I ever will be. It's been Croke Park in Dublin. It's huge, um, and there's a real feeling there, real energy. Um, Many of the German stadiums now, even Dortmund, I find terrible. I don't like them at all. When they got rebuilt, like the one in Frankfurt, I worked with Frankfurt, so the stadium there, the old Waldstadion, the Forest Stadium, was amazing, and it had a nice setup all around it, training grounds, hostels, and everything was really nice. And then they redid it, and it lost that uniqueness. So no, Krasnodar in terms of layout and design, easily top five that I've ever been in the last 20 years. Last 20 years is the best of lot.
Alan, Wayne got a lot of time left, but I wanted to ask you about your current projects. Capital Sports, Gaelic football in Russia that you develop. Can you briefly tell us about your current projects you're in?
Sure. Maybe with Capital Sports 3.0. So of course, you remember we had a radio show which was award-winning. As top listenership it was huge in Russia on Capital FM in Moscow. Went off with 5 years. It was just non-stop success. We had some rocky times, some difficult shows. We nearly broke the station, or I broke the station, by pressing the wrong button. Realistically, that's what happened. Nearly took the whole station down off the air. It was just amazing. Very nervous Sunday night with Andy Mack. So we converted that into we were always on air and off. We always had a separate project with Capital Sports. So during COVID, when we went off air, fully off air, we still were recording and so on. So it's Capital Sports 2.0. We went 3.0 actually went up in April 2022, which has grown, and we're doing pieces then for different radio stations, especially the Russian content that goes very well. Radio stations in America, in Europe, in Gibraltar, for example, in Spain, Cyprus, Malta as well. So we do small clips for them, interviews. So that's continuing on. It's not growing as it's not it's not hit the level we want it to be, but it's the distribution has just been way more than we expected. That's okay. Um, and then of course with the Gaelic Games Europe, with Gaelic football in Russia, we're now relaunching the club in Ulyanovsk because it had gone into a bit of a sort of funk for a year or so. Like, and for lots of reasons, people moved away, people lost interest, got married, had kids. So we're relaunching that. Was down there last week with them. So that's really going to push ahead. It'll do very, very well. And of course, for Europe, I answer for hurling due to our sport, so I'm the hurling officer, development officer. So that's an aside. But with another project, of course, working with interviewing, it's kind of like a chat class, which you remember. So we're speaking with. At the moment, we've only done football players, so ex-footballers, football stars who've been world champions, European champions, English, French champions, Italian champions. Right? So that's been very, very good. It's been very interesting. And I'll be doing more of that quite soon. They want us to do more basketball, but I'm okay. I said, oh, why not? And ice hockey is all should have done before. So they're the main projects like that we're working on. So the Campbell Sports 3.0 goes out mainly on YouTube. So and then on the different radio stations around Europe and North America. We have the Champ Talks we're doing with a company based in Europe, and with interviewing famous footballers. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, and the Gaelic Games in Russia. So just kind of try to rebuild because we had a bit of a shock, of course, 2022. Hadn't recovered from 2020 at all because a lot of people have gone. So now we're just rebuilding us. It's going nicely.
Yeah. Thank you. We are back in the Bleeds block again. Brief questions.
Sure.
Okay. Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Oh, okay. Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather?
I'd say neither, but I would go for Ali. Yeah, neither.
Amazing. I just love your answers. Okay. Roy Keane or Robbie Keane?
That's Robbie Keane.
Robbie
Robbie
Keane.
Keane. Yeah.
Alrighty. Football or boxing?
Oh, boxing. To watch football, to compete in boxing.
Amazing. Yeah, Alan, let me tell you, I just love the discussion. I just love
Okay,
it.
me too.
And what I'm sure about is that we need another discussion the soonest. That's it.
Yes.
That's what I think. Alan, if you could give only three very important advice to your son, what it would be?
Keep your hands up, keep your head up, and keep your elbows in. No, that's a joke. No, that's like, the boxing's like do this.
Yeah, I got it.
So very simple things, just like always remember you know better or no worse than anybody else, and no one is any better or worse than you. So look at people in the eye. I always say, even as director of college, look people in the eye. Don't look down the ground, don't look above them, or look down your nose. Look them in the eye, and they'll look at you in the eye. If they don't, it's their problem. So that's the first one. Always treat people the same way as you want to be treated. That's one thing. Kindness, and I say this to my son many times. Kindness is the best currency to have. If you're kind to people, it'll come back to you. People don't understand that. They think, oh, like I need to be like I need to be cruel and so on. No, kindness, when you're really down and out and you've been kind to people, they'll be kind back to you. You won't realize it, but it's going to happen. So, that's second. And the third one is that with your parents, of course, I'm talking about me to him, nothing is ever worth stressing too much about. Because you might be angry, and you'd be angry for 1 minute, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 days, but you won't get those minutes back. So when there's times you want to I want to my dad, pick up the phone and say, hey, talk about the match. Can't do it. So when you have the moments, hold on. So first, better or worse than else. That's the first one. Second, now I forget what the second was. I'm just thinking in my head. What was my second one? My God. So the first one was like, be kindness. Sorry, kindness.
No.
And
Look straight in the eyes.
look straight in the eye.
No down looking.
Look, exactly. Don't look over up down to anybody. Doesn't matter who they are, what
I
they've
think
won in
it's
the
about
past.
dignity, right? Self-respect
Exactly.
and respect to
Exactly.
other people.
And respect others. Exactly. So respect others, treat them the way you want to be treated. Kindness is the best currency to have. And the third one is that it's not worth falling out with people because you'll miss them when they're gone. That's it.
Mate, thank you so much for sharing the insights. We thank. I'm sure all the guys who will watch this video will be grateful to you, Alan, because you tried to be as frank as possible. I thank you so much. Wish you the best luck with your current projects, with your charming family. Wish best luck to your son and to you, of course, because such people like you. It is so good that we have a chance to communicate with you, to study, to learn from you. And again, thank you so much. Have a nice day, mate.
You too, Dennis. Thank you so much. And it's right back at you as well. Thank you so much.
Have a nice day. Have a nice day, mate. Bye bye.
Nice.
Thank you.